What's up, everybody? I'm Giovanni, and welcome back to Salt and Pepper Pickleball, where we test paddles so that way you don't have to spend your whole paycheck trying to find the right one. And today we've got a paddle that immediately caught my attention because this thing is on their website for only $70. Yes, you heard me correct, $70. So naturally, the first question I had was, can a paddle at this price actually compete with some of the big name paddles that cost 2 times as much or sometimes even more? Well, today we're going to find out. So we are looking at the Vanwin Pro T7 16 millimeter. So let's do this. So first look on this thing right out of the box, the T7 has that familiar raw carbon fiber look that a lot of us have come to really love. You've got a 16 millimeter core, a raw T700 carbon fiber face, and this paddle comes in around 8-ish ounces. And that weight is important because the paddle doesn't feel like a tank in your hands. It feels quick and easy to maneuver. And for an older guy like me who likes to pretend he still has fast hands, I'll take all the help I can get. Once I started hitting with the T7, the first thing I noticed was the feel. It's got that plush, comfortable response that you want from a 16 millimeter. It doesn't feel overly stiff or harsh. And there's a nice consistency across the face. And the sweet spot feels pretty darn generous on this thing. Now, I'm not going to tell you that this paddle is going to magically turn your mishits into perfect shots, because if that were the case, I'd be winning a lot more games. But when you don't hit the ball perfectly in the center, the T7 does a really good job of staying stable and giving you a predictable response. Now let's talk about the power of this bad boy. The T7 isn't what I'd call a crazy power paddle either, but there's definitely some pop hiding in here. From the baseline, it's easy to generate depth. Drives come off this paddle very nice, and there's just enough extra pop to help get the ball moving without the paddle feeling uncontrollable. And that's something that I really liked about this paddle. You get some of that easy, moderate leveled power with this paddle. For the players who want a paddle that can do a little bit of everything, this is where the T7 starts getting very interesting. And speaking of control, this might actually be where the T7 surprised me the most. The 16 millimeter core gives the paddle a nice amount of stability and dwell. And that plush feel makes resets, drops, and the soft game feel very comfortable. At the kitchen, the paddle is easy to maneuver because it's right at that 8 ounces and quick enough for those fast hands battles, which is especially important when the other team decides to turn the kitchen into a machine gun competition where it's just bang, bang. Now let's talk about something that everybody loves, spin. The T7 uses the raw T700 carbon fiber face, and it really does grab the ball. Like it's not the grittiest thing in the world, but it still grabs the balls. Like you can definitely tell that this thing has really nice micro valleys in this that are just grabbing the ball, because not once when I played with it, did it feel uncontrollable. Like I was able to get some dips, some nice arches, some nice arcs. I was able to actually move the ball left to right however I wanted. If I wanted to hit the outside of the ball and make it go left, it did it. If I was using my backhand and I hit the right outside of the ball, it definitely hooked to the right. So it might not sound like a spin monster, but it definitely grabs the ball. And this is definitely an area where I think that the paddle punches above its price point. Because when you're spending around $70 on a paddle, you don't necessarily expect to get this kind of spin performance. Now at the kitchen, I think this paddle really shines for players who like a balanced game because it's quick, it's stable, it has a forgiving sweet spot, and you've got enough pop to speed up the ball when you want to attack. But when it's time to slow things down, the T7 has enough control to work with you. So whether you're dinking or resetting or rolling or getting into those crazy hands battles, the T7 actually feels nice and comfortable doing it all. This paddle really does feel like an all-around style of paddle. So who do I think should be looking for the Vanwin Pro T7? Honestly, a lot of players. This thing surprised me, and I think a lot of players are actually going to enjoy the Pro T7. And for only $70, I mean, blew my mind. So if you're a newer player looking to upgrade your paddle from your first paddle, this could be a really, really interesting option for you guys. If you're an intermediate player looking to upgrade from your first paddle, this could be a really interesting option. If you're an intermediate player who wants good spin, good control, and some easy power without spending $150, $200, or even more, definitely put this one on your radar because this is one of 3 in Vanwin's lineup. This is the T7, then they have the T8, and then they have their full foam paddle called the Alpha. And hopefully I should be getting those within the next couple of weeks. And then I will put out videos for those 2 paddles as well. I do know that Pickle Lee has already put out a first impression for the T8, and I have seen a sprinkling of reviews for the Alpha. So if you want to research those, give those a look as well. So that way you can stay informed on the good things that Vanwin's actually going to be putting out. I'm excited to see what Vanwin can do in the future and how they're going to grow. I think that they are going to be a paddle company to look out for. Now, with that being said, I'm introducing a little bit of a new topic here just because of this paddle and its value. That's the real story about this paddle. At just $70, this paddle is entering a price range where you might expect some kind of compromises. But I'm not seeing a whole lot of them, you guys. You've got a 16mm construction. I mean, it has the raw T700 carbon fiber face. It has good spin, good control, a generous sweet spot, solid stability, because I didn't even put weights on this paddle. So I mean, I'm playing it with just an overgrip, my built-up butt cap, and then I have the Mars edge guard on here, and that's it. And that bumped this up to about 8.2, 8.2.5, somewhere in there. And I feel solidly comfortable with this paddle. But you know what? This thing still has enough pop to give you some easy depth. I mean, I was hitting the baseline nearly the whole time, you know, because I'm still practicing, so some of them still go very long. But that's a pretty impressive package for the money that this costs of $70, you guys. And I believe that this is a great competitor for the Warping Point Neon. I think it's a great competitor for the Asocentric, even if they're actually still selling that paddle. I haven't looked it up in a long time. That was actually my first big boy paddle. But I feel that if I was starting out or I was moving from my first paddle to my next paddle, this is actually a pretty solid choice. So is the Vanwin Pro T7 going to completely replace a $200 paddle on the market? Of course not, unfortunately. But that's not really the point when it comes to this paddle. The point is that you don't always have to spend $200 to get a paddle that performs very well. And that's what I appreciate about paddles like this. The T7 gives you a little bit of everything. Again, it gives you control. It gives you spin. It gives you enough power. It definitely gives you some forgiveness because of the sweet spot. And then it's light enough to be fast and maneuverable at the kitchen. And guess what? I'm going to say it for the 3rd or 4th time. It's only $70. And that's a whole lot of pickleball paddle for the money. So you guys, that's my take on the Vanwin T7. If you've played with the T7, let me know down in the comments. I would love to hear about it. If you have some time, head over to my pickle list. If you've actually played with this, put it on the map so that others can see this. I think, like I said, it's a great first big boy paddle to the game, and I mean, I can't recommend it enough for people who are making that next step. It doesn't always have to be a $300 paddle that you're stepping into. You know, like you can progress incrementally to get to that $300 paddle. But, you know, everything is levels, you guys. Everything is levels. You know, you always go crawl to walk to run. So don't start off just by running, okay, guys? If I could recommend one thing, is crawl, walk, and then run. So if you're enjoying these reviews, please consider hitting that like button and subscribing to the channel. You guys don't know how much I would appreciate that, because Salt and Pepper Pickleball is still growing, and every single one of you who watches, who comments, and shares this video definitely helps way more than you guys even know. And always, thank you guys for hanging out with me today. I really appreciate it. But guys, remember, keep smiling, keep laughing, and keep playing pickle with pasión. Salt and Pepper out.